The Kansas City Chiefs have a left tackle problem. Depending on who you talk to, some see the position as the most important on the field. Why? Couple reasons. Number one, you're blocking the quarterback's blind side. Coming from this way, they can't see him coming. And two, you're probably going against the other team's best pass rusher. The Big 12 Conference unveiled its season-long football awards today, and there's good news, bad news, and some news that will probably upset you. Make sure you sit out your Diet Pepsi and hot dogs for Football Santa tonight, because this time tomorrow we should have live football to break down. Caroline Soro, now you were just with Travis Kelce in a locker room. He said, "Banks open on Sunday." What else did you hear in there, Caroline? Do you remember how exciting this Chiefs wide receiver room was before the season? They're coming off a 2023 year where the team led the league in drops, and KC totally revamped it. And then off of a Super Bowl? That's going to be a lot of fun. And then former first-round pick Kadarius Toney didn't buy in, according to coaches, and he was cut before the season. But hey, they got Hollywood Brown, and he's a deep threat waiting to be a wide receiver one. He suffered a clavicle injury in the first preseason game. But hey, there's still Rashee Rice, no sophomore slump, putting up record numbers until Patrick Mahomes took his knees out trying to stop an interception return. He's likely done for the season. I'm not going to lie to you and say that Sky Moore has been awesome, but he does know the system and was officially placed on IR today with a core muscle injury. But here's the light at the end of the tunnel. You're getting a first look at newly traded for wideout DeAndre Hopkins from Tennessee, a guy that's been one of the best, if not the best, pass catchers of the last decade. See, we're down on the field right now. We're actually down by the end zone where that play happened. I happen to snag over there. If you can see, here is the literal grass that Isaiah likely stepped on that kept him from getting in the end zone. You can see the roots sticking out, with team captain Salvador Perez being the only player on that 2014-15 team still with this team. A lot of players asking, what was that atmosphere like? What can we expect from postseason baseball? And in pure Salvi fashion, all he could do was let out a big smile. Down the road here in Lawrence, the question is about the availability of a star. Preseason Big 12 Player of the Year Hunter Dickinson has been dealing with what Coach Self has called a minor foot injury that saw him sit out the Jayhawks' first two exhibition games. A game where the KU lost on the road at Arkansas, leaving us saying, hey, don't worry, KU didn't even have Hunter Dickinson. The team followed that up with a big win over Washburn, leaving us saying, hey, they did that. They didn't even have Hunter Dickinson. Now, I can confirm that he was out here a full participant in warm-ups. We don't know if he will be able to go tonight. I haven't been a part of a press game or post-game press conference quite that somber in my young career as a sportscaster. Lance Leipold oftentimes answering questions, not finding the words to say. Much like all of us watching this game for the second straight week, Kansas falls to a team that they were expected to win against. The first 4 minutes of the Sunflower Showdown went about as expected as we could guess with this struggling K-State team at a top 10 KU team. KU opens on a 14-0 run in the first 4 minutes, but after that, K-State actually outscores KU. The confetti on the ground behind me means celebrations are in line as the Kansas City Chiefs are headed to a back-to-back-to-back Super Bowl. With 1 second left on the clock, it was the sound of the roaring crowd that let Chiefs Kingdom know they were leaving this game undefeated. Chiefs opened the season with a win on this field against the Ravens by a toe, and they win today by a finger. The finger of Leo Chenal blocking the would-be game-winning field goal attempt by the Broncos, keeping Kansas City's undefeated season alive.
You know, it's just a good push by everybody. And
Bill Self's Kansas Jayhawks are coming off a season where any other program would be like, all right, that was pretty good. But for this KU team with a rich history of success, ending in the round of 32 in the NCAA tournament won't cut it. Despite all this rain going on behind me, the Jayhawks shine today. KU soccer picks up the 2-1 victory over Arizona State in the opening round of the Big 12 tournament here in Kansas City. Well, on senior day for KU football, it was no more fitting that the senior that decided to stick it out, Devin Neal, became the story of this ball game. The senior running back from Lawrence High finishes with over 280 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns as KU knocks off Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes, marking their 3rd straight top 20 win.
There's so many people along this road that have helped me get to this position, and you know, all the fans that showed up today, and they could have easily given up on us. There's a lot of people that did honestly write us off, but I just felt all the love and all the support for the guys, and that we enjoy that. I mean, we're humans at the end of the day, and it was special all around. It was a special moment for me. I'll never forget it. I feel like I've given a lot to this, this university in a lot of different ways, and so for them to be able to just support me one last time at home, it meant a lot to me for sure.
The offense played a perfect game. 0 turnovers, controlled the ball for 2/3 of the game, and didn't punt once. The only possession that did not end in a score was the final possession of the game as the Jayhawks ran the clock out.
I feel like the biggest thing for me is being able to, help the team win games. And, if I'm making so many mistakes to where we're not winning games, I'm definitely going to be hard on myself more than anybody else is. So, the fact that, the tide has turned, we're finally on that winning side of the stick, it just makes me definitely happy.
This one marks the first time in college football history that an unranked team has beaten 3 top 20 teams in a row. There is the vibe of too little, too late for this team with high expectations going into the season, but they say that they're going to enjoy this one regardless. Working for you in Kansas City, Landon Reinhardt, 27 Sports. 2-1 in the fourth. Goodwill Hunter Renfro playing wicked smart. Single to left scores Vinny Pasquantino. It's a 2-run lead. Flashback to game 1, 6th inning. Salvador Perez takes a 424-foot right to center. First pitch, 6th inning game 2, fried ravioli. 438 feet to left field, smashing the baseball today. And in the 9th, an ooey gooey butter cake to top it off. Kyle Isbell gets it over the right field wall and show me a sweep. Royals break out the brooms in the I-70 series. 6-4 game 1, 8-5 game 2. MLB prospect closer Tyson Neighbors on the mound. He's a frequent flyer at the 100 miles per hour club. Here's a scenario. Bases loaded, 2 outs, full count, Hawks trail by 1. Shoji Naga called strike 3. Game over. The nerves, the electricity. Game 1 goes the way of the Wildcats, 3-2. And we get 2 more of these games this weekend. We'll be there, and we can't wait. Larkin Turner, the senior, had himself a night. This time he gets an assist, throwing out to Jackson Austin, keeping it weird for a corner 3. Now Jaytwan Williams puts up a shot, won't go, but there's Turner's bread and butter. An offensive board, go up strong, 2 points for the young fella. This time, a deflected pass off the rim. Ooh. Turner able to control it, able to go back up for 2 more. Shawnee Mission North keeping him away from the basket. Doesn't matter. Kareem Skyhook, touch the sky. Lupe Fiasco. Here's Kaya Taylor in her spot. Wing 3, money ball. They'll create scoring in the aggregate. Here's the action. Here's Michael Jensen. Maybe the first Michael J to wear 23.
Maybe. To
Trent Lockwood. Cloudy with a chance if he's balling. What that Cobra doing? That's Sir Peak with the pass down low to Cade Holiday. Abilene at Wamego. What do you know about a little movie called October Sky, Caroline?
Ooh, look at that.
Do you remember that one? Jake Gyllenhaal, Rockets, launching rockets at the science fair. Speaking of rockets, Logan Folden at quarterback, launching it to Harper Lowell. No Lowell in his game. He won't be caught in open scoring in the first. For the Cobras, it's Drake Melly, Drake Mellies. You can't catch him. You can't stop him. Deep in its own territory. Quarterback Wes Anderson putting up a fight, but he won't get an Oscar for this feature film. Flock of Eagles gets the sack and forces a punt. Wes Anderson says, I don't care about your titles. You're some Royal Tandem bums. Wildcats giving Axel what they don't normally get. A competitive ball game. So Coach Eric Detweiler set up in his chair and tells Schmelzy, just go score the rock. And for the first time in a while, the Eagles have to play in the second half. Final score 52-20. Axel back to the state championship
Put that on
game.
repeat.
That's 4 in a row. 'Twas the night before Chiefs miss, and all through the house, just about everyone was stirring, preparing to leave no doubts. Playing for the 1 seed, they'll say the refs were unfair. In little over an hour, game day will be in the air. Got soaking wet, so I had to take my shoes off, and I want to show you these puddles. Splashing around out here. If I had rubber boots, I'd put them on. I got to get on the road. Boomtown is calling my name. Those folks in Wamego, you'll see me there. Got my seatbelt on. I'm in drive. I'm going to be playing some music. Rebecca, we'll see you at 10. Don't sue me. I only did it for like 3 seconds. That's all we have for sports in this show, but I'm going to throw on a disguise as Landon Reinhardt I'm Marquise's biggest fan. I'm hoping to get a picture with my favorite Sweet 16 hero.
See Lola's hanging out with Landon over there.
We said she's had enough screen time. She said it's not been enough.
Landon over there.
She's begging for me to pat her. I'm going to give her a belly rub. Sorry, Lola. Poor girl.
27 News at 10, and thank you for Lola for being here.
Expectations have never been higher for K-State women's basketball.
I feel like this could be the best team you've had.
Well, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
And so far, Coach Mitty's been right.
Easy. Swatted by Greer. Got it off and knocked it down.
But the reason for this success hasn't come from a veteran set of twins, or from one of the best point guards in the country, or a first-team all-conference super senior. It's about a GOAT. No, not the NCAA single-game scoring record holder, an actual GOAT. But this story starts in Miami in 2017, where the U introduced the turnover chain. Defensive coordinator Manny Diaz wanted an incentive for his players to force turnovers, and it was an instant success. Since then, it's been a staple of sport. Now, it's made its way to college basketball in Manhattan, Kansas.
In basketball, if you get 7 3-stop sequences in a game, your win percentage is over 90%.
Coach Mitty comes to the 3 captains, me, Serena, and Yoki, come up with some way that we can track our gaps. A gap is when we get 3 stops in a row.
It was mostly Gabby's idea. She said, how about we get like an animal, like a stuffed animal, maybe like a goat, and that's our representative. We hold him up every time we get our gaps. And Yoki and I are like, what?
The G's go together, gap goat. And goats are my favorite animal. If there's goats, like my parents be like, goats, Gabby, goats.
So it was decided, and $65 on Amazon later, the Cats had their goat. Every time K-State gets 3 stops in a row, the team managers hold up the goat in celebration, signifying an earned gap. 7 gaps in a game, and Gappy gets his chains, a 7 pendant off Amazon, and a Cuban link stolen from Ayoka Lee's cat, Chadwick.
That goat had his first fight. He was very successful. He was very comfortable.
As of early January, K-State ranks 1st in the conference and 5th in the nation in opponents' points per game. I mean, it started as a fun, lighthearted story, but then you look at the numbers and the stats back it up. At what point did you guys start taking this seriously?
As silly as it is, I honestly think it does help. We are honestly sad, like at the end of a game, if he doesn't get his chains. Like, we're upset about it. We're like, dang, like we will win the game, but we didn't get 7 gaps.
It didn't take long for the team to rally behind the GOAT. So, why not double down?
She was walking off the court and I said, you know, you ought to get that thing an Instagram account. She turned around and I knew I probably shouldn't have said it.
With a social media account, Gap Goat went public and fans started to take notice.
People are finding mini gaps, and it's like a little baby version of him.
Kevin Riley, my wife and I are both super fans of the women's basketball, of all K-State sports, but women's basketball in particular.
Kevin fell in love with the Gap Goat. He wanted to make t-shirts, but licensing would have been too expensive.
So she went to Amazon and bought the baby goat. The whole goal was to support the Gap Goat, but to get everybody in the stands to start supporting.
Now, plenty more are showing up in the stands.
You can find ways to have fun and emphasize things that are good team things, good basketball fundamental things. Well, that goat can travel with us every trip.
In Manhattan, Landon Reinhardt, K-Nation. Here's what went down in his tenure in the capital city. Craig Schurig is a Topeka transplant.
Anything that's an owie, you just suck it up.
Growing up in New Jersey, just outside Philadelphia, and took a chance out west to play college ball as a defensive back at Colorado Mines, graduating with a degree in petroleum engineering.
Final score from Yager Stadium, Colorado School of Mines, 31.
After 9 years as an assistant at Pitt State, Schurig engineered his way to become the 37th head coach in Washburn history in 2001.
We want to show resiliency, we want to show toughness, mental and physical.
Only Dick Godlove in the 1940s had lasted over 10 consecutive seasons with the Ichabod's. Schurig ends his campaign with 23.
Craig is, over the years has just been, great for the community and for Washburn.
In 2005, Schurig led Washburn to its first and only MIAA championship. along with its first ever trip to the NCAA postseason.
You get that school spirit going.
In 2011, he became the program's all-time wins leader and picked up the first tournament win in Ichabod history.
You know, one of the joys of coaching is kind of seeing your guys happy after the game.
His 2013 campaign marked 10 straight seasons with a winning record.
Washburn is 8-0 for the first time since 1907.
The highs did come with some lows. A career 5-32 against top 10 teams and a 2-12 record against Emporia State since 2012.
The Ichabods won the first 8 games of the season last year, then stumbled down the stretch with 3 consecutive losses.
It was a slow rebuild-up before a 9-win season in 2021. The team was hoping for similar success in 2023 before the team was met with unprecedented injury luck. Starting quarterback Kellen Simoncic was lost for the season in the home opener, and the team was forced to play mostly freshmen.
And for the younger guys, yeah, we've talked about this is a building block for next year.
Expectations weren't too high going into 2024. Washburn football will enter the 2024 season picked 9th out of 10 teams, but being almost there
Washburn puts together quite the comeback in this game, but just can't come all the way back.
wasn't good enough.
It was a decision we made that was best for the program at this time. We obviously the last 2 years we haven't been successful win-loss record. This past year we had a lot of close games. The name of the game is winning, and just felt we needed to make a change.
Serving as the interim is longtime associate head coach Zach Watkins, a Schurig product in his own right.
All-American Zach Watkins is returning to the school and joining head coach Craig Schurig's staff as a co-defensive coordinator for next season.
142 wins, $120 million indoor facility, 30 All-Americans, 7 NFL players, 2 decades, and 1 Craig Schurig. Washburn says it wants to hire as soon as possible and isn't against hiring from within, but wants someone who will win right away.